So
First,
1968, that was your first record. That was a hit you did with the Marbles,
yeah,
right?
it was
Yeah.
called Only One Woman, and it
Mm.
went to number three in England. It was number one in other parts of the world, but it was never released in the States, which always pissed me off because I just thought this would be great for this country, which in latter years we actually play live, much later in Alcatraz. We
Wow.
played that song. People say, "What is that song? That soul type R&B song?" And I said, "It's the first song I ever recorded." Barry and Morris and Robin wrote the song, and Barry sort of co-produced along with Morris and Robert Stigwood, their manager. So we had two hits with them
Yeah,
back in.
the people that don't know, the Bee Gees were a very soulful band back then in the late
Yeah.
'60s, early '70s, before
Oh
the
yeah.
whole disco movement. They had some really great pop songs back in the
Yeah,
day.
yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I mean, Barry's really into that R&B music. He loves R&B music, and country music is one of two of Barry's favorite kinds of music, I think. But they went where the trends are. They were very, very adaptable.
Right.
That's the thing about the Bee Gees. They can play anything. So disco music, of course we can do it. And so they wrote a disco song for me, which was a number one in Australia and did very well in Europe as well.
What
So
song was that?
I did a disco song, eh?
Really? What song was that? I'm not familiar.
It's called Warm Ride.
Was that as a
Warm,
solo artist, as
yeah,
just Graham Bonnet?
yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
interesting.
So that was a number one in Australia, and the album it was on went gold there, and the single went gold, obviously, and it did really well in throughout, like Germany and France and blah 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 blah. But it didn't do very good in England for some odd reason. I don't know why. Anyway, I have actually done one disco song. It was a song that was going to go into Saturday Night Fever, the movie,
Okay, so
but
it was that era then, huh?
yeah. And
Wow.
so Robin had the idea of this song, and I got a very rough, demo of it that Robin
Mm.
did. And Barry and me and our engineer sort of put it together in the studio, and Barry made up some words, and we made it into a song, and it became a hit for me, but not in England
Mm.
or here, obviously. It wasn't released here either, because my cousin was in the Bee Gees when they all lived in Australia.
Mm.
So my cousin played lead guitar and is on some of their very early tracks. And that's kind of how I got to meet the Bee Gees, is through my cousin.
Wow.
And that's how it all kind of happened. And I went over to Barry Gibbs' place one night in Mayfair in London, very posh, and sat around with acoustic guitars, me, Morris, and Robert Stigwood, and my cousin and I, singing Stevie Wonder songs and doing a few Beach Boys tunes. It was quite a thing. And
Wow.
we were jamming away, and Robert Stigwood just said, Barry, tomorrow we'll have these boys in the studio. Do you have a song for them? And so that was it. And a star is born. It was
Uh,
great.
As I say, it must have been a big transition going from that into a hard rock band like Rainbow and playing with,
Well,
you know,
yeah. Well, I was going to say how that actually happened was when they were looking for a singer in Switzerland, the guys would sit around after they auditioned singers for the day. People used to come from England or wherever and fly in and fly out. They'd auditioned 80 singers. When I was told later, it's quite a lot, isn't it? And nobody was right. And they were playing a game of spot the tune. Who is this? Who's singing this? Who's singing that? And Cozy Powell had some tapes and was playing it on his tape deck. And Cozy played the song I'm talking about, Only One Woman, that my cousin and I recorded, that Barry wrote. They said, oh, yeah, yeah. What happened to that guy? And then Roger Glover comes in and says, well, I know where he is. I know who his manager is through Mickey Moody, as I was saying earlier. And so they got in touch with me, and I didn't know, as I said, who the hell Rainbow was. No clue who any of the guys in the band were, because I wasn't interested in that kind of music. So I had to go out and buy some albums and listen to what it was all about, because they wanted me to do one audition song, and the song was called Mistreated. I've been
Purple song.
mistreated. So I listened to all this stuff and I thought, yeah, this isn't my kind of thing at all. They're not really proper songs, are they? They're not really singing songs, I thought to myself. They're kind of don't sound like they take much effort to actually perform. To me, they didn't sound that great. It just didn't seem anything to me. Yeah, I'm a Beatles fan. I love melodies and whatever.
Sure.
I wasn't into like who's playing guitar for this band, like with heavy music, whatever you want to call it now. It's always like, oh, who's playing guitar? Like it matters. Well, isn't it what the music is? That's what I always look.
Well, it's funny that since that you've played with some of the top guitar players in the world. Of course, Richie Blackmore, Yngwie
Yeah.
Malmsteen, of course, Michael Schenker.
Yeah.
And Steve Vai,
Well, yeah.
music. I'm sorry. Go ahead and.
Yeah, so, well, anyway, I learned this song. I went over there thinking, well, this ain't for me. I saw the pictures of them. I look nothing like them. I'm dressed in like a 1950s suit with my hair combed back, and this is the way I was then, and still am, I guess. And because it was, I lived in London. You know how trendy and groovy and fabulous London is, and it was the punk era. Everybody kind of had short, spiky hair or whatever.
Sure.
And I thought, well, I'll do a thing for myself and have this 1950s deal going. I went over and I sang this song.
This is Mistreated?
In this big room. I think it was Don. Or somebody said to me, oh, you got to get on mic. I said, well, can I just do it off mic first, just in case I fuck it up, And so I sang, and they kind of went, you sing so loud, and this is off mic. And then Don said to me, okay, let's do it again. Let's do it again. Graham, do it on microphone this time, though. I said, oh, okay then, because I felt comfortable then. So I sang it on mic the next time. And then I said, let's do it again. And we sang it about, I don't know how many times, about 5 times. And they're all smiling away. And I thought, what's up? Are they laughing at me or something? What's going on here? And then the girlfriends of the band came in, and we're all like up on there was a balcony around the room, I remember, and they're all leaning on the balcony and looking down and smiling as well. And I thought, it's my hair, isn't it?
Who is that handsome dude out there?
Yeah, who is that guy with that short hair? What's he doing here? And Rich just said, the job's yours.
Wow. Well, obviously it worked out great, because that was kind of what Richie was looking for. And that was, the main reason Dio had left was because was looking for a more commercial, not necessarily poppy hard rock sound, but you definitely delivered that, of course, with songs like Since You've Been Gone, which of course is a Russ Ballard song, but you gave it great justice. Did he actually release that as a song, or did he just write that for you?
Well, Russ.
Yeah.
Yeah, Russ had a version. His version is very, very different. And he also there was a girl band called Clout. Do you remember them?
I remember the name, yeah.
Yeah, well, they did it. They had a minor hit with it, I believe. And that's the version I heard, was this girl band. In fact, I met the singer many, many years later at a rehearsal room, and she came in and gave me a hug. She said, you know who I am? Then she started singing Since You've Been Gone at me. But Russ did have I think it was on one of his albums or something.
Oh, I'm not aware of that.
It was very different. It was really different. You know where it kind of goes, whoa, 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 or the whoa bits.
Right.
The way he did it was like, do-do-do-do-do. It was very jolly.
Right. Wow.
Very poppy. And nobody in the band wanted to do it. I think it was like we left it till last and hoped that the song would be forgotten. But thank God we did it, because it brought Rainbow into the light, which had never been before. It had been hiding in the darkness and the evil devils and the Dungeons and Dragons. And suddenly, Rainbow became a household name, which had never been before, and they'd never had a hit in the chart,